Releasing Trauma is sponsored by the Global Association for Trauma Recovery. The Global Association for Trauma Recovery is a social impact organization serving as a resource for survivors and their families, dedicated to facilitating change by spreading trauma-related awareness and thus creating a more trauma-informed world. Learn more at gaftr.org. Welcome to Releasing Trauma, a Survivor's Podcast. I am your host, Tracy Osborne. I am a survivor of emotional bullying, rape, sexual assault, domestic abuse, and grief. After losing my husband in 2019, I set off on a new adventure to help other women release their trauma and create a life they can cherish. Each week, I will feature a guest expert or a survivor to share their stories, tips, wisdom, and more. The goal is so that you can take away even just the smallest nugget of information you can use in your life right now to make a change, and to remind you that you're not alone. There is life after trauma, and you can move from victim to thriver and create a life you can cherish. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I am your host, Tracy Osborne. With me today is Jeff Griswold, and we're going to be talking about how trauma survivors can use meditation to heal. So Jeff, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Tracy.
This is a big topic. So many people recommend meditation, and so many people have that mindset that, I can't meditate. I'll never get my mind to shut up. And, I can't sit still long enough, and all of those excuses that we come up with. But meditation truly is a very powerful tool for healing. So I'm excited to talk about it today. But before we get started on that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
Okay. Yeah, I can tell you how my journey and how I got to where I am. So in a lot of ways, my childhood was unremarkable. I grew up in suburban Minneapolis, had a great family. I played football, baseball, and swam. And so, typical unremarkable upbringing. What was different about it, though, was that I was part of a family where my father started a business in the 70s for teaching and developing programs for personal development. So in developing human potential. So he was, before it became mainstream at all, teaching people how to meditate, how to use their minds to change their lives. And so I got the opportunity, and he worked with some of the greatest people in the field too. I got to meet people like Norman Cousins, Bernie Siegel, Buckminster Fuller, Wayne Dyer, and Joyce Brothers, for example. So I was exposed to this meditation, positive thinking, improving or increasing your potential from a young age. So to me, it was kind of normal. We even had the opportunity to have a group of Tibetan monks live with us for a few days. And so I remember them in their orange robes sleeping on the floor of our dining room. And so I had some very interesting, unique experiences growing up. Now I went on to do my own thing for quite a long time. Got a mechanical engineering degree, designed aircraft for the military, got a business degree and did some high-level management consulting. But the whole time, I was still, of course, very interested, and it was integral in my life, the idea of, using my mind to be positive, to set goals and achieve them. And so through this experience, as I'm out doing my own thing, one thing that was frustrating for me was that as I was doing all of this work, designing aircraft or consulting to large corporations, I didn't get the satisfaction of helping individuals directly. And because I had, through my experience, I had times where I would work in my father's company, taking phone calls, opening letters and things like that. And we have gotten hundreds of thousands of unsolicited letters from people who have used his programs, whether it's the in-person teachings or the audio programs that we published, that truly changed their lives. And when I knew, for example, when I knew I was coming on to your show, there's one letter that stands out to me. And it was a letter from somebody who told us that our programs were instrumental in helping her recover from satanic ritual abuse. That's something I'd never heard of before then. I don't know what is involved in satanic ritual abuse, but the fact that she took the time to write a letter to thank us for the programs that we provided, that's just one of thousands of examples of how having that helping people directly, the satisfaction of doing that, really makes a difference.
Oh, I get it. I totally get it. There's such a, what is the right word I'm looking for? Helping somebody personally, person to person, or, even just through your teachings, it's like you're connecting with them on an intimate level, as opposed to just a superficial level.
Yeah, it is. It's rewarding. It's fulfilling. And on a personal level, there are a number of times I've taken phone calls or received letters where people say, I've never met. Now, the voice on most of our programs is my father's voice, which is a wonderful voice, by the way. But people would write in and say, I've never met Bob Griswold, but I feel like he's one of my best friends. And I think that's one of the things that stands out in what we deliver to our customers, is that level of personal care and the love that went into the making of the programs that we have.
Yeah, you definitely, when you're going to create guided meditation, you have to have, for sure, the right voice. But you also, like you said, you have to have that level of connection and passion. It's not just a matter of, reciting a script. There has to be that interconnection that they feel, that the end user actually feels while they're listening to it.
And that definitely happens with our programs.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about meditation and how does it really kind of work, especially in relation to say trauma, addictions, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that maybe not everybody knows, but I think is clear to a lot of us, is that the thoughts that we hold in our mind, especially our subconscious minds, are the core to every decision that we make. I mean, it literally determines the path of our lives. The only difference between somebody who, gets out and does something versus the person who just can't seem to pull themselves away from the TV or from their phone screen is the thoughts they have in their minds. You can say, oh, it's their personality, it's whatever, but it all comes down to the thoughts we hold in our minds. And as you know, a lot of those thoughts and images and feelings aren't conscious. They've been programmed into us through our life experience.
Yeah.
Now, in the case of trauma, that can be very specific, right? And very acute, where you have an experience and it creates, especially with the strong emotional attachment to those experiences, it creates thought patterns in our minds that affect our behavior and our emotional response to things. So, so we've been programmed to think a certain way, and that affects our decisions and our behavior. So if you want to change your decisions, your behavior, your emotions, you really have to change the patterns of your inner thinking. And I mean, the great news is that we know that you can change those things, right? It's not permanent, whatever you've been programmed with. But it takes certain techniques. Meditation is fantastic, but then using meditation in a prescriptive way to really identify the negative thought patterns and replace them with positive, healthful, productive thought patterns. It takes certain techniques and certain approaches. And that's really what we do. What it comes down to is helping people change their inner thought habits to affect a different reality for their lives.
So it's almost like using meditation combined with neuro-linguistic programming to change those neural pathways in your brain and create new ones.
Exactly. So, our programs help you get into that nice, deep, relaxed state of mind. And there are other techniques we use too. Let me just focus on the meditation right now. And when you're in that relaxed, meditative state of mind, you're much more open to new ideas, to greater creativity. You're much more able to be influenced to accept new ideas and incorporate them into your thinking. And so, I mean, very simply, with our programs, all you have to do is listen, right? You put them on, you listen to them, you're guided through the process of getting into the meditative state. You're given the images, the affirmations, the projecting the future. You're guided through that, and it's as you do that, especially if you do it a couple times a day for a number of days, you are rewiring your thought patterns in your mind for positivity and eliminating the negative, and it can make huge changes in your life.
Oh, absolutely.
And now, in addition to that, though, one thing I want to mention, we have meditative programs, but we also have programs that can be used while you drive or while you exercise, designed to use when you go to sleep at night and while you sleep. So there are a number of different ways that our programs can be used to help you reprogram.
I was going to ask about the sleep programs. I've tried those before, and those are really quite interesting, because they really can tap into your subconscious while you're asleep, because your conscious mind isn't in the way.
Yeah. And that, I find that too, that the conscious mind getting in the way, that's one thing that a lot of people have trouble with at first. It's fully natural, right? So if you're like, let's say you're a program on confidence, right? And you're just not in a good way with your confidence. And one of the affirmations is, I'm a confident person. It's really hard for your conscious to accept that as true, right? So that's why repetition and consistency is important. And you allow yourself to, even for a moment, accept that statement is true. And you do that over and over again, and you have breakthroughs. You start, truly believing in those affirmations, in those truths, and it really makes a difference.
Oh, agreed. I am a firm believer in positive affirmations. So, for me, when I started meditating, I started out with just, a couple of minutes a day, because that's about all I could really quiet my mind and settle my body for, and then, kind of work up from there. What do you find? Is there a like a perfect time limit, like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes? Is there, how does that work for your recordings?
Yeah, so there's no like perfect amount of time. We have programs that range from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. And well, actually, I guess if you include the sleep program, that's something I believe it goes on for about 50 minutes. But it's designed so you can put it on repeat and just play it over and over all night long.
Right.
But so it's not so much the time limit, it's the doing it regularly, right? So if you want to meditate for 2 minutes a day, as long as you do it every day, you're making positive progress.
Yeah.
So now in our programs, a typical program is going to be about 25 minutes long. And what we find is that helps you, it gives you the time to get into that deep, relaxed state of mind. And so it guides you through the breathing exercises, the visualizations to get you into that state. And then when you're in there, it takes you through the imaging, the affirmations, and then the time to get through all the messages that make sense for that particular goal. And just to lay this out for you, we have over 120 different titles. And so you can, if you want to prescriptively apply these techniques for quitting smoking or overcoming addictions, or just improving your self-esteem or being more confident, even being better at if you're in a sales job, being better at making sales, we have a program for that. So each program is going to be a little bit different in terms of the content, the messages that are delivered.
Sure.
Yeah.
You talk a little bit about imagery, and for me personally, one of the issues I have when it comes to meditation or guided meditation, especially, is I do not have the ability to visualize, meaning I can't close my eyes and create a picture that I can see. I have to think it. I just can't see it. So how does that work? Is there a way to overcome that? Because I've never been able to.
That's so that's interesting. We have one title which is called Visualization Power. And the description of that title is exactly what you're talking about. Some people have trouble visualizing things.
Yeah.
And now I never have, so it's not one of the programs that I'm intimately familiar with.
Sure.
But that's one of the programs that can help you develop that skill.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out.
Check it
out. I know for people who have no problems visualizing, I think the concept of not being able to see it is like strange. It's kind of like there's people out there who literally don't have an internal voice.
Okay.
And I've heard this, and I think, well,
I'm
how
curious,
does that work?
Yeah, I'm curious what are your dreams like?
Usually when I have dreams, a lot of times it's just flashes. Sometimes it's, I very rarely actually can remember a dream.
Okay.
And if I do, it's not in vivid detail. I have people who have talked to me about their dreams and the detail that they can go into. I'm just like, how in the world? If I see my dreams, if I can remember my dreams, it's usually just snippets and maybe like the overall theme behind it.
Yeah. Well, you should try the visualization power and see how that helps you develop that visualization skill.
Yeah, I'm totally going to look into it.
Yeah.
So, while we're talking about that, tell us a little bit about this is an app that you have, right?
Yeah. So it actually goes back to the story of how I got to where I am. So in deciding to come back to the family business, um, one of my big goals was to help the company reach more people, bring these techniques, these wonderful programs to more people worldwide. And so my background in educational technology helped me design and build, or at least I hired a coder. I'm not a coder, but put together it's called the Wise Guide app, and it brings our entire library of programs right into the palm of your hand on your phone. So um, any issue you may be dealing with right now, there's a program that you can pull up on your phone and start using. And so that was, one of the things I really, really wanted to do coming to the company again. And so you can get the app, the Wise Guide app. It's a free app. Just download it. There's a lot of free content down there, including one, go back to the whole length of a program. There's one I recommend people start with right away, and it's always available on the free version of the app. It's called Alpha Break. So this is just a 10-minute meditation that introduces you to the techniques that we use. And it's a great way to take like a quick break during the day to recharge your batteries. And one interesting thing is that a lot of times when I use it, I'll listen to it. It's 10 minutes long, but within about 5 minutes, I turn it off because it motivates me so much to get on with the rest of my day. It's like, okay, I want to get this started now. So it's a really motivational 10-minute meditation, again, called Alpha Break. So anyway, you can download the app for free. There's a lot of free stuff on there. Every month we offer a new free program that you can listen to. Now, if there are certain programs that you really like and you decide you want to continue using, you can purchase a program, so it'll always be available to you, or you can subscribe. And the subscription always comes with a 7-day free trial. So if you really just want to explore and get to know it, you can use your 7-day free trial to understand what is in the app that's going to be good for you. Find what you need, but there's something for everybody. And the great thing is that all you have to do is just listen.
That's awesome. I'm on your website. I'm looking at some of the categories. You have conquering fears, attracting money, better sleep, addiction, stress management, weight control. I mean, there's literally something for everybody.
Yeah. And for your audience, I've listened to a few of your previous podcasts, and you've mentioned how a lot of times overcoming trauma, it really, trauma can damage your confidence and self-esteem.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I would recommend if someone's going to try the app, Super Strength Self-Esteem is a fantastic title. One of my favorites. And Self-Confidence is a fantastic program to rebuild your self-worth and realize that you are valuable, and that you can find that self-love again to give you the perseverance to overcome whatever it is that you need to.
That's awesome. That's definitely awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with me today. This is really very cool. And I'm definitely going to dive in and check this out, because I need to meditate more. I know I don't do it nearly enough. I don't do it on a regular basis. So definitely.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tracy. I really do appreciate it. And So one thing I want to do, so for you and for all your listeners, I invite you to download the app. If you do decide to subscribe, again, there's a 7-day free trial. Just use the discount code RT, so for releasing trauma, just simple RT, and that'll get you a 30% discount if you decide that you want to continue.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Glad to do that for you.
And listeners, as always, I will have all of Jeff's contact information, the information about the app, how you can get it, the promo code, everything in the show notes. Head over to releasingtraumapodcast.com if you're listening from one of our partner stations, and just pull up Jeff's episode and everything will be there for you. So thank you again, Jeff, for coming on the show. And listeners, thank you as always for tuning in, and we'll talk to you in the next show.